All right, Ray, check this out right here. Look at all these trucks that are behind me at this dealership. And it's absolutely insane how many F 150s are sitting at all of these Ford dealer lots. And we've known from their earnings that Ford dealers right now have over 100-day supply of inventory. So we have this that's coming out from Ford that they're not going to be releasing the next generation of F 150s for a while. We're going to delay them. And my estimation would be the reason why they're not doing this is because they have so many freaking trucks still sitting on these dealer lots. What are these Ford dealers going to do? What is Ford going to really have to do to get these F-150s off the lot so they can release a new truck to Ford consumers that aren't buying them while we're speaking right now?
Yeah, the wonderful thing is the pictures of those Ford F-150s you showed. Well, the 2026 and the 2027s are going to look exactly like those because Ford has delayed the next generation of the F-150 until 2028, which is probably a year to almost 2 years longer than they had normally intended to build the current generation. It indicates to me a couple of things. One, they overproduced what they have now at higher price points than what that people can afford to buy. And two, I believe this indicates to me that there's a cash crunch at Ford, and they might not have as much available on hand cash as what it would take to actually start producing the new model. So there's a number of concerns if you're Ford when you look at this situation.
Well, we can look at what they're doing. As you're talking about trying to save some cash, Ford right here is slashing manager stock bonuses to cut costs and to boost performance. I don't know about boosting performance. Usually when you cut some bonuses, I don't know that would be the route to actually boost
That
performance.
normally doesn't motivate people. I'm just,
Yeah. Anyway, we know that cost cutting is going to happen throughout the course of this year. We
yeah,
had GM and Ford both release their earnings, and they said that 2025 was not going to be that great of a year. We also have potential of tariffs that's going to shrink our margins too. We have a lot of headwinds that's hitting a lot of these manufacturers right now, and then okay, we're going to take some more action. We probably have a lot of these 2025 F-150s. We're going to just rebadge them with a 2026 or a 2027 just to make sure that we don't overload our dealers more than we have already done. It was 103 days supply of inventory. Where's the Goldilocks zone of where these dealers actually want to have supply?
well, the manufacturer and the dealers would love the day supply of new cars, any model, to fall somewhere between 45 and 75 days. The sweet spot is 60 days. Zach and I earlier today on our channel took a look. There's a 141-day supply of F-150s at the moment. So it is double where they would like it to be. Slightly more than double where they would like it to be. And so we could surmise why it's double because you can just start looking at average MSRPs that are in the 60s, 70s, 80s, $90,000 range. And that to me doesn't sound like an affordable pickup truck for most people. So those high priced pickup trucks that they've been producing are sitting and they're thinking, well, we're just going to have to squeeze as much profit out of the current generation as we possibly can. And one of the ways to potentially do that is to extend the life of that generation of trucks. And that's what they're doing. And I can tell you from having been in retail um, that that normally doesn't work as well as they think it will. Sales normally start to fall off a cliff, and you know, This was the first year in 44 years where the F-150 was not the number one volume selling vehicle in America. 43 years in a row, the F-150 was the number one volume selling vehicle in America until 2024, when the RAV4 outsold it. So if you're going to continue the same generation that we have now, and it's already lost its position as the number one volume retail vehicle, well, where do you think that volume's going to go if you continue that generation for another 2 to 3 years? That's going to just continue to decline. So I don't see how this is going to help Ford. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But then again, what do I know?
So we know that Stellantis has its own problems, and I think the Ram trucks are in the worst situation. And then I think a close second behind them is Ford with their F-150s. And I think that Ford is going to surpass the problems because Stellantis has already taken action, and I've already seen some sell down from a lot of these dealers, at least around here, where they're starting to move through these trucks. Maybe they're just turning in an allocation because they feel like they can't sell what they already have. But what's the next step for Ford as a manufacturer? Is it more incentives? Is it special interest rates? Is it lowering MSRPs? What do you think is the next course of action for Ford to help these dealers actually move some of these cars?
Well, I think with the vehicles that are on hand, it's a combination of cash incentives to customers and subvented lowered specialized interest rates. You have to realize that if you're selling a $65,000 truck and you allow somebody to finance that truck at 0% interest for 5 years, that costs Ford a lot of money to buy that interest rate down from, say, 6% to 0%. That's several thousands of dollars. It might be $8, $9, $10, $11,000 that it's costing Ford to do that. Average customer rebates are typically only about $4,000. So if there could be, my suspicion would be that there'll be some combination of enhanced customer rebates and allowing customers to perhaps maybe utilize 0% interest for 36 months, or give up the rebate altogether and use 0% interest up to 60 or 72 months. But yes, that those enhancements in incentives, whether it be specialized interest rates or larger cash rebates to the customer, going to cost Ford a ton of money. And that's what it's going to take to move what they have now. And then you have to think somewhere in the future, they say, now we need to start producing some lower MSRP pickup trucks so that we don't see the same buildup of inventory that we have with the higher priced pickup trucks.
Well, and here's the problem that comes into play too. Okay, well, we get these 25% tariffs, and I think earlier today we had, well, probably not when you're watching this right now, but earlier today when me and Ray are actually recording this, Trump said he was going after the auto market with this with 25% tariffs, and it's going to be a factor where, okay, on these F-150s, that Ford is going to try to move that on to the customer. They're going to try, but then I feel like it's just going to go right back to Ford because they're going to have to add incentives to get customers in. We're already having a problem right now with how many that they have on their lots. You raise the price, it's just going to get nasty out there. I mean, just look over my shoulder on this thing, and this is a big volume dealer, but they don't have an empty spot on this lot. They were parking these F-150s in the grass. They were parking them at their Lincoln dealership. They're parking them everywhere, and there's just no more room for them.
Hit the subscribe button and that like button, because nothing says we love you quite like liking us.
Perfect.
And you could tell me better than I could tell you, but I'm guessing that the vast majority of those trucks were $70,000 or higher. I'm just guessing. And that's what the issue is. It's not, those are not affordable trucks for the vast majority of people or the vast majority of businesses that need pickup trucks. And so at a certain point, Ford is going to have to address that. It would seem to me that once they help the dealers alleviate this oversupply of high priced trucks, that Ford should increase the supply of lower priced trucks so that they move more quickly. You don't want them sitting there. It doesn't do anybody any good when they sit there. There's just too many things that can go wrong. So that, yeah, Ford's going to have to look themselves in the mirror and go, okay, it's time to start building things people can actually afford to buy. Might not be as profitable per unit that we produce, but we're not going to have to bail the dealers out later because the stuff's just been sitting too long. So you got to believe ultimately it's cheaper to just produce a cheaper truck.
So did you ever have, I know that you went through dealerships where you had situations where you had specialty vehicles that weren't moving. I know we talked about that with your Acura, with your Acuras, but did you ever have a situation like what Ford is dealing with where the number one selling vehicle for them, I mean, the F-150, they have so many of them. Did you ever have a situation where you had so many of these vehicles that there was just nothing that really you could do about it other than lower prices, but you still had more just continuously coming in?
I remember with the TL at one point in time before the Great Recession in 2008, 2009, where the number of TLs were just building up in inventory. My daily rate of sales was declining dramatically. And that ultimately, in an effort to try and move them and make it easier for customers, I just set up a whiteboard by the receptionist in the front of the showroom that listed what we were doing on TLs, that you pick out the TL you want, and it'll be invoice plus $250 dealer profit, less any incentives from Acura. And at that time, the incentives might have been $2,000 or $3,000. So people were buying these things $2,750 behind invoice. Now, I know we've had this conversation that invoice isn't ultimately what the total cost to the dealership is, because there was holdback, there was gas allowance, there was floor plan assistance, there was advertising assistance money that we got. But it was a starting point, and invoice plus $250 was a much lower starting point for the customer than MSRP. So that, this took a lot of the mystery out of it for customers and made it easier for them to see what we were doing.
So if you were at this Ford dealership, being a manager, you would have a sign the second that somebody walked in.
Absolutely.
All right, this is what it is. This is the lowest we can go. If you want it, please buy it.
In retail stores, and some of these stores aren't around anymore, but Kmart was famous for it. The aisles, they have what's called end caps at the end of the aisle. Everybody can see it that walks by it. And you're not gonna put stuff on your end cap at the highest possible price. You're going to put it at the lowest or advertised price to encourage somebody to pick it up and buy the damn thing. You don't want to make it difficult. You want to make it easier for people to understand what the savings are. So the same should apply at a dealership. Do you want to make it difficult for the customer to understand what the savings could be by not sharing any information with them? Or do you want to make it easier for the customer to understand that there's significant savings and a reason to purchase because the dealer has already agreed to reduce the price by X. And advertise that initially. I mean, it just saves everybody time, effort, and energy.
This is one thing I've never understood about the car market. Like with us at our car dealership, we'll have a car that's $4,000. We'll put $4,000 on the window. There's nothing. I mean, that's what the car costs, right? And then if 2 weeks go by and there's no interest in the car, we'll go out there and we'll take $4,000 off the window and we'll put $3,500 on the window. Why is it so hard to just get a freaking price? Even other used car dealers like myself, they don't even put the price on the window. Like you have to go inside. It seems like if you have something for sale, I want everyone on the planet Earth that goes by this vehicle to know how much I'm selling it for, because I might put a price out there that's so low that it entices them to come in there and freaking buy the car. I've never understood this about the car market.
Well, if I may, you're right and the others are wrong. And trust me, I've worked for dealers that would not allow us to put used car pricing on the vehicles. There would be no way for the customer would be forced to come inside and say, how much are you asking for X? Now, what the owner of the dealership might not have realized is many people would just walk away or drive away, never bothering to come inside to find out how much it is. Because if you're selling something, it's incumbent upon you to tell the person how much you're selling it for. That should be an easy concept for a retailer to understand. You know, many manufacturers have specialized programs, special interest rates, things like that. Finance people at most dealerships never want you to mention to a customer that we have 0% interest available on this or 1.9% interest. Why? Well, because it cuts into the finance person's ability to create profit. The reason the manufacturer put the special program out there was because the vehicles have been sitting and they're trying to create a reason for somebody to come in and buy it. And I used to fight tooth and nail with all my finance people that if the manufacturer gives us 0% interest, it is my job on the sales side of things to scream that to the customers as loud as I can, so that if somebody walked in, by the way, don't know if you're aware of it, but TLs right now have 0% interest for up to 60 months. That might make it a little bit easier for it to fit into your target budget on a monthly basis. I didn't want to keep it a secret. I think I told you this story when I had my Golf USA deal, golf store. And there were 3 of us in the Phoenix area that had Golf USAs, and we banded together and we bought some common goods and we advertised them. And one of the common goods was a pull cart. Okay. And that's what you put your golf bag on and you pull it behind you when you're walking the golf course. And the pull carts were normally $45, $44.99 or something like that. So we put them on sale for, I think we put it on sale for $39.99 or 2 for $70. You know, because a lot of husbands and wives golf. And at my store, we built a huge display right when you walked in, and we hung one from the ceiling, a pull cart from the ceiling, and we had signage. Normally $44.99, on sale $39.99, 2 for $70. Sold a boatload of pull carts that weekend. One of the other guys, he didn't do a big display. He just left the carts where they were and didn't really put any signage up. He sold a few. And the third guy, who went out of business within a year, said, well, if they don't come in and ask for it, my battery went.
There we go.
How did that happen? If they
That's
don't,
early.
yeah,
That's
if
early.
they don't come in and ask for it,
Oh, no.
I'm not
Hold your
throwing
thought.
them
Hold
back.
your thought, so we can get back to where we
Okay,
have you
let
on
me
the
go get a
screen.
battery.
All right. So if they don't ask for it, that's where everybody somebody put it in the chat to remind me to tell Ray where we're at here. Oh, we gotta take them off the screen so we'll get a crotch shot. Does everyone like my Ninja Turtles behind me? My wife does not appreciate the Ninja Turtles that I have on my shelves, and she says that I have too many of them. So she doesn't have a mic today, so I'm going to go ahead and say that she's wrong.
Okay.
There we go. All right. So I've already forgot.
So his theory was, this is what the guy did. He said, if the customer doesn't come in with the ad and ask about it, I'm not telling them about it. I said, well, how many carts did you sell over the weekend? He said 2 or 3. I might have sold 60. And I looked at him, I said, you have but one opportunity to create a good impression with your customer and let them know that you're having a sale on something. And you don't create that by keeping it a secret. It's not a secret. There's a reason that you bought these carts. There's a reason why we advertise them. You want to encourage people to come in and realize there are savings and bargains to be had at your store. And he literally was out of business 9 or 10 months into the first year.
I just don't get it. I feel like if I was this Ford dealer and I had all of these trucks sitting out there, and we know that they're going to be negotiable. We know that they're going to start off with the first pencil. They're going to take $5,000. Every one of these F-150s, I would put $5,000 off sticker and whatever special interest rate that I can put on them. I would have it on every single one of them. So when someone drives in, looks at these F-150s, they see the $5,000 off, they see the special interest rate, and I want them to know that I'm doing it on every single one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't? And most dealerships are closed on a Sunday. So if a customer is on your lot looking at vehicles on a Sunday, why wouldn't you want them to know that there's huge savings to be had if they come back on Monday and buy the damn thing? Why wouldn't you want customers who came into your golf store to buy golf balls? Why wouldn't you want them to know that, oh, by the way, you could have a pull cart for $40 when they're normally $45? What? They just might look at it and go, I'll take one. But that doesn't happen if you don't make them aware of it. So there are some retailers that I don't know how they got into the retail business.
And what's interesting is I can go online and look at, when I'm there, I'll pull up their website generally whenever I'm looking at these vehicles. And online, they always have the sale price, and it's right there. And that's because they're fighting against other dealerships. And I'm guessing that the reason why they don't display this stuff at their stores, they feel like they're going to get the customer as soon as they come in, and they don't have to give them that discount because they're at their dealership and they're not shopping at other dealerships at the moment. But it still has never made any sense to me.
It's too short-sighted when they do that. And why did dealers do that? Well, because we've always done it this way. Okay, well, that doesn't mean it's the right way. It's just a way. Too many businesses do things a certain way because it's always been done that way. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way. It just means that it's a way that it's been done. Explore the opportunities of perhaps doing it slightly differently and seeing what type of results you get. But most dealers are just stuck in, but this is the way we've always done it. Okay, so what? There could and are other and better ways. Try it. That was my theory.
Yeah, and oh, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, go ahead and tell you that if you are shopping for a vehicle, before you go into just a dealership to look, if you're going to look at a F-150 or whatever you're going to look at, make sure you pull up the dealership's website first, because you're going to be able to have a good jumping off point. They're going to have their discounts presented on their website. That's where you're going to see sales if you don't see them at the actual dealership, because they know that they're competing with all of the other Ford dealerships in the area. So you'll be able to see at least the first best price that you're able to start your negotiation from if you get the price online first.
Oh yeah, but that's just a come on price. I mean that price that price is based on if you qualify for the retired military discount, and your brother once taught kindergarten, and there's all kinds of discounts that's figured into that price that you're not going to qualify for. That's what the salespeople are going to be taught to tell you, and that's just such an asinine way of running a business. I mean, whatever the price is, the price is. And if you can't figure out a way to legitimately justify to the customer why it's priced this way, then shame on you. You probably shouldn't be selling things in the first place.
All right, new channel right here. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe. It's free for you, and it really helps us out.